The Teachings of Honor, 2nd edition, written by Dr. Arnold Nerenberg, Ph.D., narrated by Hugh, Frazier, Jr. I'm defining honor as loyalty to your highest constructive values, as enshrined in the 4 commandments of honor, while striving to cause no harm, physically or emotionally. Chapter 5. Applications and commentaries on the teachings of honor. A text message from Christy. Yesterday, on a walk, a neighbor alerted us to an injured cat. I was able to approach and bring her home, as it was a very hot day, and I didn't want her to be attacked by any predators. While I kept her cool, she ate a little. Ryan and I used a dropper to get her hydrated. We didn't notice any external wounds, but she couldn't use her back legs. As she convalesced with us, we honored her with love, and she slowly slipped away in the early morning hours. I posted throughout the neighborhood and on an online forum, but nobody claimed her. I found a place that would cremate her. Ryan and I just held her close this morning as she slowly started to pass. I'm grateful for my pets and consider my love for all animals to be the best thing about me. We alerted another neighbor of her passing, and I hope that our small act will be a representation to others to help those in need when the call presents itself. This is my devotion to honor and the movement. A text from Ivan. Hi, Doctor. I have been very conscious of the power you gain from hardship and applying it in my life. One of my fears has been Alzheimer's. My mom passed away and suffered till the very end. I understand it's hereditary and I've been hung up on it. What I've realized is I have been getting hung up on my own mortality and not being grateful for the positive memories of all the years with my mom, and my selfishness for being hung up with these thoughts. I've been increasing my prayer of God, your wish is my only wish, and in being honorable with these hang-ups, they don't stick in my mind and spirit as long. I've been open to my friends regarding the 4 commandments of honor, and given them the card to recite whenever they feel pressed about issues they may come across. It works for me. Being and working toward honor is the path to least resistance. Thank you, Doctor. A text message from Bridget. Hi, Dr. Arnold. The videos I watched this week were 1. Insecurity and selfishness as a catalyst for growth. 2. How to be a true human being. 3. Mental toxicity as cause of physiological pathology. 4. What is the honorable thing I can do in this situation? I really appreciate that you share stories about your life and your lessons. You don't just talk the talk, you walk the walk with the 4 commandments of honor. My takeaway for this week was the understanding I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. I always had the mentality that adversity helps you grow, but it's difficult for me to reflect and understand that my hardship made me stronger, and I was able to survive and move on. Your video reminded me that I did survive the things that I did, and I did gain power from going through those hardships. I remember when I was homeless for a few months, living out of my car, but I was working out every day in the gym, still going to work, still thrived under those circumstances. I just have to keep reciting the 4 commandments, understand what they mean, and apply them to every aspect of my life. Text from Karen. Acts of honor come from honor written upon the heart, and my victory and honor come from God's good grace. Text from Ivan. Hi, Doctor. I just got back from Houston, visiting my daughter and ex-wife for 10 days. My ex-wife and I had heart-to-heart conversations about my behavior and the disconnect she felt emotionally from me. It was tough listening to some of the criticism. I took responsibility for being detached emotionally at times and listened. My goal was not to offer excuses from her critics and show honor while listening. For the most part, I was surprised at some of her conclusions of me not caring and not reacting how she wanted me to react. The commandments are proving to me to be a steadying mental and emotional tool of not reacting to criticism and talking in it. I was grateful for the power I gained from accepting, but not agreeing with some of the criticism. Although some of my behavioral reactions were from embarrassment in the past with her, the commandments are working toward living with honor gives me a center to take the criticism without having to always react. I took some of your advice and ended the conversation without animosity and let her know I have always wished her well. Thank you, Doctor. Text received from Jerry. I have a sad but great story that happened this week. A dear friend of mine caught his girlfriend cheating on him, and he was devastated. He told me as a typical male what he was going to do. He was going to call her and call her names and tell her to go F off. I sat down with him and shared the code of honor. I told him, don't call her names. Just let her know it's over, and then say, I wish you well. He looked at me like I was nuts. I told him, she expects you to call her bad names, etc. 2 hours later, he called me, and he is laughing and told me that he told her it was over and I wish her well. He said, she did exactly what you said she would. He told me she was speechless when I wished her well. He was so grateful that I shared that with him. It works, Doctor. Have a good day. I wish you well and love you. Received from Marida. Loss of perspective leads to a weakened psychological immune system. This, in turn, can weaken the physical immune system. This made a lot of sense to me because of this past year. I had loss of perspective in my life. The perspective of my life was very negative and pessimistic. For the first time, I became sick multiple times in a year, and each time it was a very difficult recovery, which I have never experienced before. I believe this is because my psychological immune system was weak, causing my physical immune system to be weak as well. The 4 commandments of honor helped me change my perspective of how to honor myself, others, and life. Now, I feel not only physically healthier, but psychologically as well. A text received from Ivan. My week was okay. I have been praying a lot this week for clarity about my anxieties. What I've realized is the power is in maintaining my consciousness with the commandments and applying them internally, and it stops the negative thoughts. I spoke with my ex-wife a couple of times this week regarding past issues that were unresolved, and was able to accept her perspective on things and not feel that internal churning within myself. That is only due to the commandments as a guideline. I pray for God's wish to be my only wish, and it has relieved me internally in all those encounters. I share with her I take full responsibility for the things in the past. I think it went over her head, but I felt relieved just speaking it and meaning it. So, I feel okay. Received from Borna. How can I use honor to help myself, loved ones, and the world? I think the pledge for optimal health is probably the most important aspect of our well-being. that it is completely in our control, that we should be aware of and continually trying to improve, always having in our mind that we will be fine, or that we will come back stronger than ever should we ever suffer an injury, is an incredible, powerful mindset. I don't think it can be overstated how important maintaining fitness levels is for our daily life. I know for me, whenever I stop exercising for a few weeks at a time, I can feel the difference it makes in me mentally, which then will start to show physically. That mental and physical strain leads to not doing well in almost all aspects of our life. I think if we can try to keep ourselves and our loved ones in good overall physical shape, we will see a huge improvement in many categories of our lives. Another text from Christy. My daughter went into early labor and delivered her baby 5 weeks early due to her pregnancy complications of preeclampsia, then followed by my daughter developing HELLP syndrome. All this to say that we are both well and at home now. In regards to this week's teachings of the realm of honor to the reality of the application, I use the teachings to stay positive and reflect this to my loved ones when all I wanted to do was wallow in self-pity, which would not have done any good to my daughter or my son-in-law. I thank God for the blessing He was giving me, and everything will happen in His time. I believe this helped me get through a very difficult week, and in turn, it reflected how I interacted with my family and staff I came in contact with at the hospital. Thank you. Another text from Christy. Good morning, Dr. Nerenberg. I have been reading the teachings of honor, and I am comforted by what it says about being okay from slipping off the path of honor. While I've been applying the struggles, I feel internally they just make me spin out of control with anxiety and anger. And I love where it states, repent and come back in as soon as you can. While my emotions run high, it takes me days to stabilize. But I think during those days of recovery, been a source of healing to get me back to the way of honor. For me personally, I just want to remain consistent with being able to focus on the actions that bring me to my highest self, because that's where I feel the happiest and the most calm. But as you state, happiness is fleeting, and so it is this perspective that I'm really leaning into, to harness the honor that resides within me, so that I can share that with my son and my father. Unfortunately, my youngest son hasn't treated me with kindness or respect for a while, and I wish him well. I've had a break from that relationship because of how dark of a place it put me in. I'm trying to have a healthier connection with him. He's just not in that place. And the influence from his father has been really detrimental to my peacefulness. I'm going to visit my father today. I've taken some time away from him, as I just wasn't in a good place to speak with him. My father is such an amazing person, but his path hasn't been the most honorable as far as our relationship, and I'm looking forward to sharing my journey through the honor movement with him. Not to change him, but just to share the experience of what the honor movement is doing to change me so that he and I can have a better relationship. He's turning 80 this year, and he's always been a constant for me, and I just don't know what I'd do without him. My oldest son is very close to my dad. He's been encouraging me to reach out, and I did for the first time yesterday, after not speaking for a few months. I wished him a happy Easter, and my father was so happy to hear from me. No lecture came from him or guilt trip. He just told me that he missed me. A text from Michelle. Hi, Dr. Nerenberg. I realize that I am unconsciously using the 4 commandments of honor in my daily life. A few days ago, I was talking to an old coworker about another coworker that wronged me, and I didn't get angry for the first time. I told her I wished him well, Repeating the 4 commandments of honor has helped me be at peace with the incident, which caused me to quit my prior job. A text received from Darlene on the teachings of honor. Good evening, Doctor. Today I reflected on respectfully real communication in the teachings of honor. Communication has always been something I struggle with. I notice that I tend to build walls and barriers to close myself off when things become overwhelming, and I would respond with anger. I am working on adapting these communication skills that you listed, especially about fairness, truthfulness, and honesty. I'm going to use the teachings to help my loved ones by showing them that we're all a work in progress. By keeping the teachings of honor on our mind and implementing them, then we are living with honor. I'm going to help the world by becoming a role model and implementing these steps to show that we can all communicate respectfully. Pasquale just sent me this text on the teachings of honor. This can and has helped me relax more when hardships come and to know they make me stronger. Help me to learn to embrace hardships and see them as opportunities to grow and excel in wisdom. This helps my family as I can smile more, rather than stress through bad hardships, which reduces arguments and anger. Same with society. By helping others understand hardships are great, reducing stress and anxiety, causing more peace and love. Thank you, and happy Easter, Dr. Nerenberg, and God bless you. Another text message. Good evening, Doctor. I've been thinking about this one for a little bit now. The commandment, I am grateful for the power I gained from hardship, really resonated with me. It has allowed me to heal in a way, and it does really feel empowering to know that maybe some of our own weaknesses or unfortunate events help us grow to be the person that we choose to be moving forward. Moving forward with honor is giving me hope and birth to a new me and mentality that I have in my life. I talk to my spouse about this and family and friends in the future. I hope to be part of activism that helps those less fortunate than me, homeless, mental health, PPL, that need a second chance. Thanks for all your help in this last year. From Richard, who is grieving the death of his son. Hello, Dr. Nerenberg. I have been meeting and working with Val on how to bring honor to the grieving movement. I continue to bring the world the best true story about my grieving, and here is a special pro tip. You can recover from mourning a loved one, and of course, never forget them. I can help you use the action program for moving beyond death, divorce, and other losses. Thanks for everything, Dr. Nerenberg. Your help has been the best thing to happen to me in my life. Mao gave me permission to share his answers to the 3 weekly questions based on the teachings of honor. Hey, Doctor, I'm going to use the teachings of honor this week in the following ways. To improve myself, I will be continuing my mock mode where I am not drinking a single drop of alcohol like I have done for the past month for another 2 weeks, as well as other habits I have pledged to do each day for mock mode. I will be using it to improve my loved ones by honoring my mom for all that she's given me and expressing my appreciation to her over the phone. For the world, I will wish them well with a gift. Buying coffee this week for the people that work in my condo complex for all the times they helped me. My main goal right now is working on getting my next business started, which will have my purpose in life ingrained in the company vision. And here's the result a week later. Getting coffee for everyone in my building was huge for me this week. A feeling of being able to give back to those who help me every day, and seeing their smiles was all worth it. So moving forward, I'm going to start doing more random acts of kindness throughout my day. Simple things like giving compliments to people who are serving me or smiling at people walking by. Through the teachings of honor, for myself, I'm starting to make videos that have a similar message to what I'm learning from the book. How to live honorably in a way that is growth-minded. Continuing to practice my speaking skills through these videos until I make a full one that can be uploaded to YouTube. Taking steps to building a platform that will reach and inspire others like you have done. A text received from Carla on the impact of honor teachings in her life. Putting grocery carts back where they belong. Making sure Mom and the kids get in the car safely before I drive out of the parking lot. Giving homeless people money if I have anything to give them. Picking up trash I come across while I'm walking around my neighborhood or anywhere in public. Forgiving people when I feel like they have not been nice to me. I choose to wish them well and not take it personally for my own peace. I can't think of any more right now, but these are the ones that stand out to me the most. A text received from Justin. Hi, Doctor. I'm glad that I read the book. Once I started to imply honor in my daily life is when I'm able to feel my true self. Thank you. Received from Bernice. I read the book on the teachings of honor. I really enjoyed reading it because it is everything I've been learning and putting into practice, changing my being on a cellular level. I'm so grateful for the teachings of honor. I wish I could quantify how the movement is changing my life. Perhaps this anecdotal incident that occurred just after I had a reading session is a good example. Just the other day, I ran into someone who I could feel very negatively about. I could have chosen to give a mean look. I could have chosen to begin to speak badly to the person or about that person. But what I chose to do was to continue my day without even an acknowledgement from me. I chose peace. I feel the honor teachings along with the bridge is what's giving me the opportunity to take my power back, to make choices, rather than to be a slave to my reactivity, which still could use polishing, but I'm a work in progress. This has been The Teachings of Honor, Second Edition, written by Dr. Arnold Nerenberg, Ph.D., narrated by Hugh, Frazier, Jr.